She starts saying, oh, I want to do this. I'm bored. Let's go here. Let's do that. We need more excitement. All of those are red flags because if she truly loves you, you being in the room is exciting.
Okay, let's talk about female narcissism. There's one real big red flag that most people overlook. A female narcissist is going to basically be very, very sexual. They're going to be very sexual in the beginning stages of a relationship. So here's the thing, fellas and ladies. If you are dating a woman who is healthy, she is not trying to rush intimacy. She is trying to get to know you before she will give you the honor of actually being intimate with her. So one of the clear signs of someone who is narcissistic is going to be a person that is obsessed with her physical appearance to the point where she is going to really rush that intimacy because she's working off of just her sex appeal in order to actually lure you in. And once she actually does this, she's going to make you feel amazing. She's going to make you feel admired. And you think that she actually is into you. Now, here's the red flag, and here's how you know. Obviously, she's rushing intimacy. Red flag number one. But number two is you can never have a deep conversation with her.
We can all agree that for the majority of men watching this video, modern women are the real problem in dating, and it's not the majority of men. Many men think that dealing with modern women is a joke, but I am here to tell you that you need to exercise caution and ensure that you do not ignore red flags when you see them. In this marketplace, women are the ones choosing the men, and the men they choose are the ones who are going to pump and dump them. In the long run, behaviors such as cheating, lying, and manipulating others will hurt them and are generally detrimental to their well-being. Men do not choose women, and the majority of men right now would be content to get one woman to part her legs for them if they were lucky. We know this because women control access to makeovers, and they all give the top-tier men access to their bodies while recycling the same man until the big 30 or a wake-up call happens, at which point they decide to switch lanes and give the nice guy a chance even though they are not erotically attracted to him. Since we all know the divorce statistics and how that relationship ends, at this point in our RP journey, we have enough evidence to see that this is happening. You must never ignore the woman who only wants your time when dating modern women. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Your time is one of the most valuable resources you have at your disposal, and every time you decide to spend it, you will never get that time back. It doesn't matter if you start the next day. The time you spent yesterday is gone forever, and will never return again, so you have to be mindful of that. That being said, don't waste the majority of your time on a woman who only wants your time. If this is the case, she is a risky individual who should be eliminated from your life. Because they don't have any money, but they have a hell of a lot of time. Broke men without ambition, or some of you broke ninjas, don't understand why transacting money is better than transacting your time. Of course, those men will be happy to give away their time frivolously because they lack money, but men with money know how valuable their time is to making more money. And they know that time is more valuable than money, so they have no problem transacting their money to get. If a man who is financially independent and has at least $10,000 in the bank spends $800 on one of his subscription girlfriends and she comes over to his place 3 times a week and lets him beat out the juices out of her wet vice grip until it's drier than sandpaper the next month, he can make back those $800. However, if he was not living the free agent lifestyle and had a girlfriend who only wanted his time and he spent 60 hours. I hope you understand why spending time on women who rarely ever add anything to your life is so detrimental to your financial future, because once you swipe that time debit card, you'll never see those funds again. And when it refills the next day, that's new time that should be spent on productive things that will actually benefit your life. X-axis don't add value, and the most they'll do is leech off of you like parasites and waste your time, especially the time thieves. I hope you understand why we are spending time with each other. If you work hard and smart enough but time once you spend it, that's it. So ensure that when you're spending time on women, it's not for too long, and you've already had a productive day. Ensure that when you're spending time on women, it's not for too long, because women have no problem wasting your time. If you let them, and that won't benefit you in the long run if you want to be somebody or be financially independent, so keep that in. I say this because some women put themselves in the position for that to happen. Some teased the man too much until he couldn't take it anymore. Some were wearing 304 uniforms that may have made the man lose control. And some gave initial consent and then took it away somewhere in the act. So when you hear a woman get grabbed, until you hear about the circumstances of the incident, don't jump to conclusions. I say this because some women tease the man too much until he couldn't take it anymore. I don't support grapes unless it's a fantasy being fulfilled or for role-playing, and yes, A lot of women have this fantasy. Ironically, I was digging out a girl who said she got grabbed and wanted me to grape her. Yeah, guys, that is why I said it depends on the circumstance, because she might have gotten great, but that doesn't mean she didn't want it. Let me tell you my story so you guys can understand why I don't support grape unless it's a fantasy being fulfilled. I did a makeover with 2 women who said they got great results. The first one told me that her cousin's boyfriend held her down and took it from her, and that was how it went down after it happened. Some time passed, and eventually she got her father involved, but because time had passed and there wasn't any evidence, and of course, the alleged victim denied it, nothing came of it. She told me that after it happened, she became very erotic and started getting her body count up. She never told her family, and she never broke up with the man after the incident. She was 16 and he was in his 30s or 40s, if my memory serves me right. With that said, her complaint was that he was never affectionate after they had a makeover and she felt used. So my train of thought was if he was affectionate with her even after. I just remembered I had another example, so the girl that sent me to the RP, you guys know, I didn't have makeover with her after our 2-year relationship. And she swindled me and took me for a fool. I shared this multiple times on the channel, so I've been there with many of you guys, but in my college days I tried very hard to convince my girl to have makeover with me. And she would always reject me, and I remember I went close this one time, but she stopped me, and nothing happened. Expect it to be framed as a grape if they didn't like the guy, and he didn't do aftercare when he took the woman. But if they did like the guy and he did aftercare, they'll be less inclined to frame it as a grape. On the other hand, if they didn't like the guy and he didn't do aftercare, you should anticipate that it will be framed as a grievance and be mindful of this fact. I said a woman, not a kid, and I don't agree with it or men doing it. I'm just telling you that as she had that experience, you might not want to date her or be in a relationship with her, because she will have that negative experience throughout the rest of her life that you will have to deal with, because the majority of them will not go to a therapist to get help. The 2 girls I had a situationship with both said they were virgins at the time when the incident happened to them, and both of them So based on my experience working with women who have allegedly had great experiences, I would say there are lies in a lot of women's stories, and you have to take the BS as a result of what happened. But I will say that not all the women who said that happened, it isn't exactly how it was framed. And sometimes there is a level of purposeful victimhood that they can lean on to do whatever they wanted to do after the incident. I don't think it will be worth seeing past a woman. If she is mentally scared as a result of that experience, you will have to deal with it. Therefore, unless you are willing to put up with that, you should steer clear of those people. It was either a half-truth or a victimhood story. This is a very sensitive topic, because I know that some of you probably have relatives or girlfriends who have had this happen to them, and you would want a man to date and marry them because it was out of her control, and I can see that, and there will be a man willing to do it, so don't worry about your relatives or friends getting a man to accept them if that happens, but for most men it will not work, and that is just a fact. Most men do not want to put up with it, and most men can. Why would I recommend that men date women like that when I know that they will overlook it? Because of this, there will never be a woman who has been favored whom a man will not accept. Are we clear, gentlemen? And none of you had better go out there and grab a woman. Even if it's a consensual role play, just don't do it. Guys, because this is a sensitive topic that many people will have a problem with. And I hope I conveyed it properly because it happens to people, and there's a lot of baggage there that men should be aware of. But if you are with someone who got great, or do you want to date someone who had that experience, you can date them. Just know you have to deal with their past, which can negatively affect you and your relationship. And she told you after you guys got into the relationship. Tap the thumbs up button and share your thoughts by commenting below. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and share it with the person who could benefit the most from hearing this message.